Alone in Spain, after a perilous journey, unaccompanied African minors begin a new life. Under Spanish law, they are entitled to housing in Spain until they turn 18.
Female entrepreneurs could soon get a boost from the United States as the U.S. government reaffirms support for small and medium-sized businesses, especially those owned by women.
Meet Minnesota State Senator Omar Fateh, a Somali American changing the face of politics in the United States.
Hello and thanks for tuning in to the show that goes around the continent to bring you stories near and far. I'm Joke Rogers at Channels Television here in Lagos, and I'm joined by Vincent McCory from the Voice of America in Washington.
Well, thanks, I'm Vincent McCory at the Voice of America. Happy to be with you again for another edition of Africa 54. Our broadcast still looks a little different because of the global pandemic, but we appreciate you staying with us on Africa 54. Let's start off with the latest from Nigeria. Channels Television in Lagos brings you that story.
The United States ambassador to Nigeria, Mary Beth Leonard, has reaffirmed the U.S. government's readiness to support small and medium-sized enterprises in Nigeria, especially those owned by female entrepreneurs. The ambassador made the assertion at the graduation ceremony of participants of the 2021 U.S. Consulate Academy for Women Entrepreneurs in Ile-Ife, Osun State, southwest Nigeria.
The Academy for Women Entrepreneurs is designed by the U.S. government through its Department of State for Global Women's Mentoring Partnership Program to cultivate female entrepreneurs' general know-how and connect them with funding and business opportunities. The gathering in Ile-Ife in Osun State is the graduation ceremony for the 2021 class with about 250 women entrepreneurs from a pool of over 15,000 applicants representing a cross-section of industries from fashion, textiles to health and agribusiness. For the U.S. ambassador to Nigeria, the training will prepare participants to compete favorably in the face of a dwindling economy.
Despite the challenges of the year, you made a commitment and you stuck with it. And just like the 2019 and 2020 cohorts, I encourage you all to expand your businesses, make the most of your new network, and continue to reach for opportunities, and always remember to mentor other women.
A local partner and other facilitators of the initiative emphasized the importance of the scheme.
These women are bringing a lot of money into Nigeria with their businesses. If we help them, give them the right resources, the right tools, the right network, the right opportunities for funding, it means that they can scale. So as you know already, SMEs already bring a lot to the economy. So if you then feed all of this into their businesses, if they're doing better, it means the economy automatically becomes better. And they also employ people as well.
What they're doing gives you a lot of hope for the country, that people are prepared to not only invest their time, they're investing their resources because they believe in the possibility of Nigeria.
Participants laud the U.S. government for its support.
I think as women, there's a lot that we offer to the community and to the society, and more opportunities like this, I feel, should be given to more women to be a part of this.
This year's participants include 50 repatriated irregular migrants who are in various stages of building their businesses. It is expected that these skills and knowledge acquired will help participants fulfill their potential.
Joining us to discuss this is the Chief Executive Officer of Birth Edge Mercantile Limited, Mrs. Omonike George Ayudu. Glad to have you join us today on Africa 54.
My pleasure to be here.
So, you're a businesswoman. If you could list two things that will help develop your business today, make it even better than it is, what will those things be?
So, I will talk about capital. Number one, and capital for me is multidimensional. The first aspect of capital is the money that I need to run a business, okay, like funding. Then the second aspect of it is capital that I'm losing, that can be avoided. Then the second aspect of what would help me is collaboration. Collaboration with other businesses, with other players within the sector. And as you know, partnerships, create businesses. So those are the two areas I would like to talk about.
And, there are so many things that affect businesses today. One of the biggest ones is security, or should I say the lack of it. If you would want this challenge to be addressed, how do you think that, we should go about, getting this right?
I think pretty much the government should help. The government should help us to secure our environment. This is affecting entrepreneurs, and the effect is enormous. For people that are into production, those that rely on raw materials from other sources, it's a big challenge. So, and due to kidnapping, banditry, and all that. Also, people in the agricultural sector, they have challenges with that, especially people into farming and all that. So I would say that the government, of course, will still need to help us. Currently, people spend a lot of money to secure themselves, I would say. So that challenge has to be resolved.
Another big challenge, there's also this constant call for Nigerians to patronize locally, made products and to patronize local industries. So what do you think should happen? How can, entrepreneurs themselves protect local industry so that they can compete favorably with global ones?
Okay, so again, I think entrepreneurs should come together to present a voice to the government.
Yes, certainly.
And in doing that, we should be making demands in the areas of increasing tariffs to ensure that imported products that are coming to the country come at extremely high premium, such that people will be a bit uncomfortable to buy them. And of course, we then rely on our own products. And the second bit of it is about, it's about ensuring that even if we will need to bring some into the country, there's a quota system.
Yes.
All right? A quota system that ensures that, just a little amount of such is brought into the country. If we do all of this, I believe that essentially we'll do better. Our local industry would grow.
Yeah, so growing the local industry, I'm not sure is a good thing and is a big thing if it should, happen favorably. But, there's this thing about I don't have what you want, so you take what I have. I don't know if you get what I mean, that if this is what I want from a local business person and the person doesn't have it, but because that's the only thing available in patronizing a local business, then I have no choice but just to buy that product. So what should Nigerian entrepreneurs do to their SMEs to put it on a global scale to ensure that they compete favorably and to ensure that, how will I call it now, the quality is the same as, to those that are coming in?
Okay, so I will say this. Innovation drives businesses.
Certainly.
And if you look at the trend of what has been happening in Nigeria, especially in the areas of fashion, we are doing extremely well, such that we're even exporting our fashion into other countries. In the area of even production, food production, people have stepped up. If you look at I was at an exhibition 2 days ago, and you'll be shocked at what Nigerians have got to offer. So I also think that some of the well-to-do Nigerians should also try or endeavor to invest in some of these SMEs and probably also partner us so that we can be able to, in a way, meet their demand. But it's important that we give people good quality, we are innovative in our offering, and also we do the best we can. And of course, you can see that on the global stage, we are already getting there. If you look at the entertainment industry, we are really, really like third largest in the world, and we are doing so well.
What do you think about issues like, the U.S. government supporting businesses, especially those run by women? Do you think, how much of visibility do you think this will give to SMEs? It's
important that we get this kind of help to build our capacity, to build our capability, and it generally would be better for that.
All right. Thank you for your thoughts today on Africa 54.
Thank you for having me.
Animal welfare advocates in Kenya are campaigning against the battery cage system of commercial poultry management. The system has been banned in Europe out of concern for the birds' welfare, but it is beginning to gain popularity in Africa. Victoria Munga reports from Kakamega, Kenya.
Grace Acheng's 1,400 hens have been her income source for a year now. Acheng says friends also keeping such birds introduced her to this system of wire cages for hens.
You can imagine the stress of walking, picking eggs in between the birds, or even if they have where they are producing, they are laying. You might even find some which are dirty. They have pooped on it. So yes, birds are supposed to be left to free range. But those experts again should realize that there is technology coming in. And so that is the battery caging.
However, animal welfare groups are campaigning against battery cage technology for what they say is violating the birds' welfare.
So these birds are placed in an area where they cannot actually express their natural behavior. And because of that, some of their natural behaviors like stretching their wings and flapping is actually restricted to a big extent. The other aspect, because of that confinement and these birds not being able to exercise, they are prone to a condition we call osteoporosis, where their bones are actually very fragile and they're actually prone to fracture anytime.
Kenya's poultry sector has not been clearly regulated, but state officials say a poultry farming bill that aims to ensure poultry welfare is adhered to is due to be law in 6 months.
The regulation also gives guidance on how birds should be transported from the source to the market or even to the slaughter point. Along all those operations, there are government inspectors to be placed along the chain.
In June, the European Parliament voted to ban the battery cage system of poultry management within the next 6 years. Kenyan officials and animal welfare advocates face tough times ahead in convincing hundreds of poultry farmers like Acheng to drop the technology. Victoria Amunga for VOA News, Kakamega, Kenya.
Egypt's health ministry has set up vaccination booths at some of the city's malls and metro stations where people can get an instant jab in a bid to encourage more people get vaccinated amid fears of the spread of the new variant Omicron. The government says it has a target of vaccinating 40% of the country's population of just over 100 million by the end of the year.
A total of 14 vaccination booths have been set up in Cairo's malls and metro stations to boost its coronavirus vaccination drive amid rising fears of the spread of the new Omicron variant. Similar booths have been set up in sports clubs and youth centers, and more than 96 registration centers have opened to help citizens register to get the vaccine.
It'll make Egypt a lot more safer because, for example, other countries who aren't getting vaccinated yet, they will have a lot more cases which will eventually lead to a lot more deaths. But I think it's important that Egypt, gets vaccinated and so everyone will be safe, so it becomes a safer place.
The country has not yet detected any case of the new variant, and health authorities say necessary measures are taken to monitor the situation across the country.
Making vaccinations available in locations close to home or work saves effort and time. Instead of having to travel or wait somewhere, there are more locations now in Zayat Specialized Hospital, this booth here, and at Eli Club, and many other locations. We save time and the commute.
Egypt, as with several other countries, has suspended direct flights to and from South Africa due to concerns about the new variant. The country has also announced it will activate a plan to offer COVID-19 vaccine booster shots for senior citizens, people with chronic diseases, and healthcare workers, and last month authorized Pfizer's vaccine for children aged 12 to 15.
It's time now for a short break. As we do, we remind you to visit our website, channelstv.com, for news and programming around the clock. You can also find us at youtube.com/channelsweb. Still to come, a film about the lives of Tunisians under Ben Ali's rule and the impact of the country's 2011 uprising takes first prize at the 43rd International Film Festival in Cairo.
Welcome back to Africa 54. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. Large numbers of migrants continue to make the perilous journey across the Mediterranean from Africa to the southern coasts of Spain. Among them are hundreds of unaccompanied minors who, under Spanish law, are entitled to be housed in Spain until they turn 18. Elizabeth Chernoff narrates this report by Alfonso Bieto in Barcelona.
Many young Africans, like these in the southern Spanish city of Jerez de la Frontera, come to Europe dreaming of a better future and success. Under Spanish law, those under the age of 18 qualify for a residence permit that gives them access to education and housing. Thierno Diong is from Senegal. 2 years ago, he contacted a friend who was already in Morocco and prepared to make the journey across the Mediterranean.
We were 70 people on that boat, 9 hours to get to Malaga. A rescue boat picked us up.
He risked his life at the age of 17 and on arrival was admitted to a center for minors. When he turned 18, the authorities released him to the streets and he was on his own.
I went with a Senegalese walking in the street and then talking to him. He said, "Okay, you can come with me. There's an abandoned house and you can sleep there."
Aid organizations like the Dimbali Network help these young migrants by offering training and support with the paperwork to legalize their status.
The chances that this young man or woman can work in the agricultural sector or the hotel industry are minimal, because obviously, if they have not processed their papers, if they have not received job training as minors, if they have not learned the language, the chances that they will not be able to enter the workforce or society and will fail, well, those chances are very great.
Spain's right-wing Vox party has launched media campaigns rallying public support against programs to accept and integrate the unaccompanied minors.
They would have to be in their countries of origin, and funding resources should be allocated to help them there.
Media campaigns in Spain rally to keep the young migrants out. Back in their home countries, media plays a big role in influencing young people to come. Senegalese migrant Lamine Sarr says the images that drew him were far from the reality he lived when he arrived here.
In the films the Europeans make, they do not show the images of people sleeping on the streets. When they make the films, they show expensive cars, luxury buildings, the beautiful life.
For many migrants, this new life is far from a dream come true. There are no luxuries here and no expensive cars, but they send messages home saying they are doing well because some say they do not want to worry their families, and they also do not want to admit failure. For Alfonso Beato in Barcelona, Elizabeth Chernoff, VOA News.
A film in Tunisia, Godwa, or Tomorrow, has won an award at the 43rd International Film Festival in Cairo. The film, directed by Tunisian star and first-time director Dafa Labidine, puts a focus on the lives of Tunisians under Ben Ali's rule and the impacts of the country's 2011 uprising. Take a listen.
Tunisian star and first-time director Dafa Abedine of Godwa Film went home with the International Federation of Film Critics Award during the closing ceremony of the 43rd Cairo International Film Festival on Sunday, December 5th. Labedine stars as Habib, whose political activity under the regime of the former Tunisian leader Zine El Abidine Ben Ali impacts his relationship with his son Ahmed, thus reversing traditional father and son roles.
It's a story about Tunisian society and also a human story, showing the relationship between a father and his son and how the roles between them shift, showing the son as a father in very special and difficult social conditions. What threw me into writing and directing is that I wanted my point of view to be credible and carry my feelings.
The film casts a shadow on the need to find justice for victims who lived under a dictatorship in order to reach real reconciliation.
It's very important to be at the Cairo International Film Festival in the international competition with my first film, and it's an award that is very close to my heart. It's a very important one, the International Federation of Film Critics Award. I would like to give it to the team who shared it with me in this work. This is the first stage for the film, and I hope for the best.
In his directorial debut, Labudin also co-wrote the screenplay and produced the film. The Cairo International Film Festival that ran from November 26 to December 5th also included screenings of more than 100 films from 63 countries.
The different diaspora groups that make up the United States inevitably have fought for representation through the voting process. VOA is profiling a group of emerging politicians with direct ties to Africa who are changing the face of American politics. In our final profile, we'll take a look at Minnesota State Senator Omar Fateh, whose parents came from Somalia.
My name is Omar Fateh. I'm the state senator for District 62 in South Minneapolis. I was born in Washington, D.C. and raised in Virginia. And I'm on the campaign trail, and along with my colleagues, I've been telling them that I'm growing up in an immigrant household, but within the American culture, which is a melting pot of ideas, thoughts, religions, and so on. I think I was best to bridge the gap between the new immigrants as well as the folks that have been here. I, Omar Fateh, do solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States. I'm blessed to represent a very diverse district in South Minneapolis. It's a lot of working class folks. These are folks that have been really hit really hard this past year with the George Floyd murder, the uprising that followed, but as well as COVID-19, which impacted all of us. I regularly go to Lake Street, which are mostly Latino-owned businesses, and I've made that connection with them to help them understand what resources are out there in COVID and in general. I've built a relationship with folks in Little Earth to understand indigenous issues, but also what they want to prioritize in the upcoming sessions. When we speak to them, we make sure that we understand that they're not a monolith, right? So if you go into Little Earth, you don't assume that everybody has the same idea or thought process. That's just not how it is. So I was fortunate enough to form committees within these different communities so that they can help educate me, but also I take their ideas back to the legislature with me to turn it into action and into bills. One of the things I try to do is bridge the gap between the immigrant community, but also the government, the commissioners, assistant commissioners, so that when they're interacting with government, they're united as one voice rather than individual businesses, and that has proven to be successful. This is George Floyd Square. It is a memorial, a remembrance for George Floyd and the murder that occurred a little over a year ago now. We've seen a massive increase in crime following the murder of George Floyd. And we've seen people attribute that to maybe having less officers or we need more police, when that's not the case. We have to remember that because of COVID, a lot of people lost work. A lot of people went on unemployment. A lot of people were struggling to pay rent. And then couple that with the murder of George Floyd, which was a national murder. People saw an innocent black man getting tortured to death for 9 minutes. People took to the streets. They were really upset. I represent the district in which George Floyd was murdered, and the uprising that followed really hurt a lot of folks, both the protesters but also business owners. I'm hoping to continue the good work that our office as well as our colleagues have done here. So making sure that we prioritize public safety, making sure that we're investing in affordable housing and public housing so that we're not pricing out our residents and we're preserving our diversity, and making sure that we have a single-payer healthcare system that's not tied to employment so that we make sure that healthcare is fundamentally a human right.
Well, and that's our show for today. You can find all the continent's top news and world news online at voaafrica.com. Check it out. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. Channels Television has our last word from Lagos.
We look forward to bringing you another show next week. To remember that channelstv.com is your source for news and other programming. I'm Jope Rogers. Thanks for watching and goodbye.